Chapter 10, Power of the Mastermind, the Driving Force, the ninth step to riches. Power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. Plans are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them into action. This chapter will describe the method by which an individual may attain and apply power. Power may be defined as organized and intelligently directed knowledge. Power, as the term is here used, refers to the organized effort sufficient to enable an individual to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent. Organized effort is produced through the coordination of the effort of two or more people who work towards a definite and in a spirit of money. Power is required for accumulation of money. Power is necessary for the retention of money after it has been accumulated. Let us ascertain how power may be acquired. If power is organized knowledge, let us examine the sources of knowledge. First, infinite intelligence. This source of knowledge may be contacted through the procedure described in chapter number 6 with the aid of creative imagination. Second, accumulated experience. The accumulated experience of humankind, or that portion of which has been organized and recorded, may be found in any well equipped public library. An important part of this accumulated experience is taught in schools and colleges where it has been classified and organized. Third, experiment and research. In the field of science and in practically every walk of other life, people are gathering and classifying organized new facts daily. This is the source to which one must turn when knowledge not available through the accumulated experience. Here too, the creative imagination must often be used. Knowledge may be acquired from any of the foregoing sources. It may be converted into power by organizing it into definite plans and by expressing those plans into terms of action. Examination of three major sources of knowledge will readily disclose the difficulty people would have if they depend upon their efforts alone in assembling knowledge and expressing it through definite plans in terms of action. If their plans are comprehensive, if they contemplate large proportion, and they must generally induce others to cooperate with them before they can inject into their plans the necessary element of power. Gaining power through mastermind. The mastermind may be defined as the coordination of knowledge and effort and in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. No individual may have great power without availing him or in himself or herself for the mastermind group. In chapter 7, instructions were given for the creation of plans for the purpose of translating desire into its monetary equivalent. If you carry out of these instructions with persistence and intelligence, and use discrimination in the selection of your mastermind group, your objective will have been halfway reached before you even begin to recognize it. So you may better understand the intangible potentialities of power available to you through the properly chosen mastermind group. We will here explain the two characteristics of mastermind principle, one of which is economic in nature and the other is psych. The economic feature is obvious. Economic advantages may be created by people who surround themselves with achieve counsel and personal cooperation of a group of a people who are willing to lend them and wholehearted aid in spirit of perfect harmony. This form of cooperative alliance has been the basis of nearly every great fortune. Your understanding of this great truth may be definitely determine your financial status. The psych phase of the mastermind principle is much more abstract, much more difficult to comprehend because it refers to the spiritual forces with which human race as a whole is not well acquainted. You may catch a significant suggestion from this statement. No two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third, invisible, tangible force which may be likened to the third mind. Keep in mind the fact that there are only two known elements in the whole universe, energy and matter. Matter may be broken down into units of molecules, atoms, and electrons. There are units of matter that may be isolated, separated, and analyzed. Likewise, there are units of energy. The human mind is a form of energy, a part of it being spiritual in nature. When the minds of two people are coordinated in a spirit of harmony, the spiritual units of energy of each mind form an affinity which constitutes the psychic phase of the mastermind. The mastermind principle, or rather the economic feature of it, was first called to my attention by Andrew Carnegie. Discovery of this principle was responsible for the choice of my life's work. Mr. Carnegie's mastermind group consisted of a staff of approximately 50 men with whom he surrounded himself for the definite purpose of manufacturing and marketing steel. He attributed his entire fortune to the power he accumulated through this mastermind. Analyze the record of any person who has accumulated a great fortune and many of those who have accumulated more modest fortunes, and you will find that they have either consciously or unconsciously employed the mastermind principle. Great power can be accumulated through no other principle. Energy is nature's set of building blocks out of which she constructs every material things in universe, including humankind and every form of animal and vegetable life. Through a process that only nature completely understands, she translates energy into matter. Nature's building blocks are available to us in the energy involved in thinking. The brain may be compared to an electric battery. It absorbs energy from the ether, which permeates every atom of matter and fills the entire universe. A group of electric batteries will provide you more energy than a single battery. An individual battery will provide energy in a proportion to the number and the capacity of cells it contains. The brain functions is in a similar fashion. This accounts for the fact that some brains are more efficient than others and leads to significant statement. A group of brains coordinated or connected in a spirit of harmony will provide more thoughtful energy than a single brain, just as a group of electric batteries will provide more energy than a single battery. Through this metaphor, it becomes immediately obvious that mastermind principle holds the secret of the power wielded by people who surround themselves with other people of brains. There follows now another statement which will lead still nearer to an understanding of the psychic phase of the mastermind principle. When a group of individual brains is coordinated and functions in harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual brain in the group. Henry Ford began his business career under the handicap of poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance. Within the inconceivably short period of 10 years, Mr. Ford mastered these three handicaps and within 25 years made himself one of the richest men in America. Connect with the fact the additional knowledge that Mr. Ford's most rapid strides become noticeable from the time he became a personal friend of Thomas A. Edison, and you will begin to understand that what the influence of one mind upon another can accomplish. Go to step further and consider the fact that Mr. Ford's most outstanding achievements begin from the time he formed the acquaintances of Harvey Firestone, John Burroughs, and Luther Burbank, each man of great brain capacity. And you will have further evidence that power may be produced through friendly alliance of minds. There is little, if any, doubt that Henry Ford was one of the best informed men in the business and industrial art world. The question of his wealth needs no discussion. Analyze Mr. Ford's intimate personal friends and some of whom who have already been mentioned, and you will be prepared to understand the following statement. People take on the nature and the habits and powers of thought of with those with whom they associate in a spirit of sympathy and harmony. Henry Ford whipped poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance by allying himself with great minds whose vibrations of thought he absorbed into his own mind. Through his association with Edison, Burbank, Burroughs, and Firestone, Mr. Ford added to his own brain power the sum and the substance of intelligence, experience, knowledge, and spiritual forces of these four men. Moreover, he appropriated and made use of mastermind principle through the methods described in this book. This principle is available to you. President Franklin Roosevelt brought the best minds of the country to Washington to form a mastermind group he called the Brain Trust. During and after the World War II, mastermind group called the think tanks were frequently called upon by leaders of government and industry to help deal with the critical problems. We have already mentioned Mahatma Gandhi. Perhaps the majority of those who have heard of Gandhi look upon him as a merely and eccentric little man who went around without formal clothes and made trouble for the British government. In reality, Gandhi was not eccentric, but he was the most powerful man of his generation, estimated by the number of his followers and their faith in their leader. Moreover, he was probably the most powerful man who have ever lived. His power was passive and it was real. Real. Let us study the method by which he attained his stupendous power. It may be explained into few words. He came by power through inducing over 200 million people to coordinate with the mind and body in the spirit of harmony for a definite purpose. In brief, Gandhi accomplished a miracle, for it is a miracle when 200 million people can be induced, not forced, to cooperate in a spirit of harmony for a limitless time. If you doubt that this is a miracle, try to induce any two people to cooperate in spirit of harmony for any length of time. Every person who manages a business knows that what a difficult matter it is to get employees to work together in a spirit even remotely resembling harmony. The list of the chief sources from which power may be attained is, as you have seen, headed by the infinite intelligence. When two or more people coordinate in a spirit of harmony and work towards a definite objective, they place themselves in a position through that alliance to absorb power directly from the great universal storehouse of infinite intelligence. This is the greatest of all sources of power. It is the source to which genuine genius turns. It is the source to which every great leader turns, whether conscious of the fact or not. The other two major sources from which the knowledge necessary for the accumulation of power may be obtained are more reliable than our five senses. The senses are not always reliable, and finite intelligence does not err. In subsequent chapters, the method by which infinite intelligence may be mostly readily contacted will be adequately described. This is the not a course on a religion. No fundamental principle described in this book should be interpreted as being intended to interfere either directly or indirectly with anyone's religious habit. This book has been confined exclusively to instructing the reader how to transmute the definite purpose of desire for money into its monetary equivalent. Read, think, and meditate as you read. Soon the entire subject will unfold and you will see it in perspective. You are now seeing the detail of the individual chapters. Money is shy and elusive. It must be wooed and won by methods not unlike those used by a determined lover in pursuit of a mate. And coincidental as it is, the power used in the wooing of money is not greatly different from that used in wooing a lover. That power, when successfully used in the pursuit of money, may be mixed with the faith. It must be mixed with desire. It must be mixed with persistent. It must be applied through a plan, and that plan must be set into action. Some of the best sources for creating your own mastermind group are your employees. Andrew Groove, the extremely successful CEO of Intel Corporation, did this. Groove works with a team of technical and marketing, financial, and administrative men and women in an informal environment. There are no private offices, special packings or spaces or other privileges for executives. Employees have generous stock option plans so they can share in the gains if the company makes money and stock rises. Although the team may appear casual, they follow Groove's lead of being very demanding on themselves. When Intel faced a crisis in 1976, the team willingly put in extra effort, more work hours, and did everything was necessary to solve the problems. On another occasion, it was discovered that the Intel Pentium chip had a minor defect that would affect only an insignificant number of operations. Groove decision to replace the chips at a cost of $475 million rather than deliver a product that was not perfect was fully endorsed by his colleagues. Groove encourages his people to work in small, autonomous work units in which everyone understands the system and their role in it. Each person contributes their knowledge and expertise and creativity. Team members are trained and motivated to produce the best of their capacity. When a crisis arises, the team willingly plus puts into the extra time, energy, and brain power to meet and beat their problems faced. When money comes in quantities knows that as the big money, it flows to one who accumulates as it easily as water flows downhill. There exists a great unseen stream of power which may be compared to a river, except that it flows in two directions. One side carries all get who get into that side of the stream onwards and upwards to wealth, and the other side flows in the opposite direction, that carrying all who are unfortunate enough to get into the end and not able to extricate themselves from it, downwards to misery and poverty. Every person who has accumulated a great fortune has recognized the existence of this stream of life. It consists of one's thinking process. The positive emotions of thought form the side of the stream that carries one to fortune. The negative emotions form the other side that carries one down to poverty. This carries a thought of stupendous importance to the person who is following this book with the object of accumulating a fortune. This carries a thought of stupendous importance to the person who is following this book with the object of accumulating a fortune. If you are inside of the stream of power that leads to poverty, this may serve as an oar by which you may propel yourself over into the other side of the stream. It can serve you only through application and use. Merely reading and passing judgment on it, either on the way or another, will in no way benefit you. Some people undergo the experience of alternating the positive and negative sides of the stream, being at times on the positive side and at times on the negative side. The Wall Street crash of 29 swept millions of people from the positive to the negative side of the stream. Those millions struggled, some of them in desperation and fear, and to get back to the positive side of the stream. This book was written especially for those millions. Poverty and riches often exchange places. Poverty may and generally does voluntarily takes the places of riches. When riches take the place of poverty, the change is usually brought about through well conceived and careful executed plans. Poverty needs no plan. It needs no one to aid it because it's bold and ruthless. Riches are shy and timid. They have to be attracted. Anyone anybody can wish for riches, and most people do, but only for few. They had a definite plan, plus a burning desire for wealth are the only dependable means of accumulating it. Ross Perot's attitude exemplifies the power of tough minded commitment, not only his own but also that of a mastermind with which he surrounded himself. He had a burning desire for wealth and achieved it. Before he started Electronic Data System (EDS), he had been the top salesperson at IBM. He was cautioned that leaving IBM to start a company from scratch was a mistake. This did not faze Perot. He was inspired by a vision of what could it be. His success clearly demonstrated that by sticking to your dream and transmitting that dream to a team of experts, a mastermind who will have the know how to help make it a realization lead to success and wealth. Perrot's firmly believes that commitment can accomplish miracles. This was exemplified when EDs committed for one of the largest contracts in the computer industry. Two companies, IBM and EDS, were the contestants. IBM was far richer and had in their staff a more experienced and knowledge group of specialists. EDs had a small but dedicated team. Parrot recalls about 30 days into the competition. I walked into the room and our 15 guys were saying, Gee, we probably can't win, but it will be a great experience. I didn't jump up and down and chew people out. I just walked to the blackboard and wrote down the 7 criteria by which we would be judged. And in a nice, how low voice said, We are going to beat them 7-0. That's the day we won. Perrot commented that the raises, the bonuses, the stock options, and the thousands of new jobs created by winning this project were, of course, the tangible rewards of achieving this cup. However, he believes that more important was the immense satisfaction of knowing that their had hard work and creativity they beat best in the world. That's what makes a company great, a team working together as a mastermind to beat the opposition.